would your life be like? What impact would you have on the world around you? What impact would you have on this community if you saw everyone with the clarity of who they are? But you can't do that for them until you can do it for yourself. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I don't need a more church than that right there. Let's just go eat. If that didn't bring you a sense of joy, nothing I say is going to. It's good to be with you this morning. It's an honor to be here to share this time with you. And thank you, Cherie, for the invitation. It's good to be back in my hometown, and I know many of you from my many years in the various Unity churches in this area, so it's great to be with you today. So, fourth week of Advent, that must mean something's happening next weekend. Oh, Christmas, that's what's happening next weekend. Fourth week of Advent. Advent's our time where we intentionally set our heart and our mind on the track towards the birth of the Christ, the emergence of that Christ presence that is the truth of who we are. And being that is why we're here, right? That's the only reason we're here. It's that essence of divine within us. And we've built up through the weeks of Advent with hope and faith and peace and love. And so this week, we've got joy on our hearts and in our minds. And Christmas is typically a pretty joyful season. We do a lot to bring joy into the season, into our homes, into the world this time of year. We celebrate all season long with amazing music. And how many Christmas songs contain joy? There's so many. And the word joy appears almost 200 times, no matter which version of the Bible you're looking at. That's a lot of joy. And we light up our world with Christmas lights. It's one of my favorite times is going and finding the lights. Because the lights are beautiful, but there's something about driving through the neighborhoods and going, oh, I see light over there. And there's a light shining through the darkness. In the original Rudolph story, Santa is actually kind of a bumbling fool. And he goes into the houses in complete darkness. And he's fumbling around the house. At some point, he bumps into something in the kitchen. He fumbles his way down the hall till he finds the children's room. And then he has to get really, really close to see which kid it is so that he leaves the right gift. When all along, he had the light with him. He just left it up on the roof. We've always got the light with us. We just have to remember. We just have to remember that it's there. We share this joy with friends and family by exchanging gifts, recipes. It's my favorite part. It's a joy-filled time of year, except when it isn't. The rates of mental health challenges, anxiety, depression, suicides all go up this time of year. So it's a joy-filled season, except when it's not. Someone you know is preparing for their first Christmas without a loved one. Someone else is preparing before their last. Someone's entering this season with strife in the family. Someone's dealing with addiction and personal challenges. This community is dealing with challenges. And so when we recognize this joy-filled season, we also recognize that it's often a season of sorrow. And that's just what life is. It's ups and downs, it's times of triumph, it's times of struggle. And when we think of joy, we tend to think of happiness, right? But joy is so much deeper than that. Because joy is a part of who we are in the midst of all that life brings us. It's generally defined as a positive emotion where you feel feelings of freedom and safety and ease. And we usually think of it as a response to something good that's happening in our life or happening in the world. Emily Dickinson said, "The mere sense of living is joy enough." The mere sense of living is joy enough. And my favorite poet of all time, Rumi, the 13th century Persian poet, said, "When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy." And from our own unity writings in the Revealing Word, joy and gladness are strength-giving, especially if the mind is fixed on the things of spirit. And so how do we find joy when life doesn't feel very happy? Well, personally, I think that joy is a result of connection. Starting with a connection to self. Starting with doing that deep, inner, messy work of really getting to know ourselves, of getting to know who we are, of getting to know what our habits and our trends and all of the stuff that we've picked up along the way. It's developing that deep understanding of who we truly are. Who we are on the inside, without all those learned behaviors and those adopted beliefs about who we are and how we're supposed to be in the world. Joy is a result of connecting with others, heart to heart, soul to soul. I love those moments when I first meet somebody and they walk in the room or we're introduced and my soul has this little moment of, oh, there you are. I've been waiting for you to get here. I had one of those moments the first time I met Cherie. Now, she probably didn't because I was sitting in the evaluator's chair. I was actually on one of her licensing and ordination teams before I took the position I'm currently in. And I remember her walking in the room and I went, oh. And then she spoke and I went, okay, how much longer does she have? Just get her out the door now. But I love those moments when our souls recognize each other. Just imagine what it would be like to be so clear about who you are that the moment you see someone, you see the truth of who they are. The moment you see them, you see their truth. When we've done our own work and we're not being driven by our learned beliefs, by the words that we use to label, all of that has less and less impact on who we are. And it has less and less impact on how we view others in our lives. When we believe the truth about ourselves, then we can see the truth of others. And we can let go of the need to hold them in bondage to our view of who they are. And let them be who they are. Imagine a relationship where you were so connected to your divine truth that you automatically see that truth in the other, no matter what they do or say. What would your life be like? What impact would you have on the world around you? What impact would you have on this community if you saw everyone with the clarity of who they are? But you can't do that for them until you can do it for yourself. What if every time you met someone, your soul went, "Ah, there you are. I've been waiting for you to arrive." Joy is the result of connection with nature. Being in nature can facilitate a sense of awe. There's nothing like standing on the edge of a cliff and looking out over nothing but ocean to really give you a sense of how tiny we are in the great expanse of things, and to give you a sense of awe and wonder at the world. It's really easy for me to feel connected to all that is and to the oneness of life when my hands are in the dirt, or when I'm by the ocean, or floating in a mountain stream. See, nature doesn't care how we show up in the world. It doesn't differentiate plant life from animal life from humanity. Being in nature connects us directly to divinity. It lets us let go of all pretense. We don't have to pretend that we're human beings. We can just be when we're out in nature. It is simply life in its purest form. Joy is a result of connecting to the present moment. When I'm present, I can see my thoughts for what they are. Thoughts. Nothing more. Nothing more than thoughts. And when I'm able to see my thoughts and not believe what I think, but instead recognize the oneness that is all of life, then the world doesn't feel like such a hostile place. In her book, 1,000 Names for Joy, Byron Katie writes, "Not believing your own thoughts, you are free from primal desire. The thought that reality should be different from what it is." When we feel joyful, we feel it in our bodies. It can change our bodies. We feel freer. We move with more ease through the world. Colors around us seem brighter. We smile more easily. And joy changes our brain, too. It opens us to more creative thinking, better problem solving. It makes us more resourceful and more resilient. There's 650 acres of woods in the middle of nowhere in Michigan that I go to every summer. And hanging on a tree is a hand-painted sign that says, "Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it." When we're paying attention, when we go through our typical day and just notice the moments of joy. So for the next 24 hours, this is your challenge. Spend the next 24 hours noticing all of the moments of joy in your life. And if you can, jot them down. Make note. And then at the end of the day, look back at your notes and look for patterns. What is it that brings you that sense of joy? When do you notice joy happening? Don't do anything differently. Just go through your normal day and notice. Pay attention. Keep an eye out for those moments. Look for the patterns. Maybe that spark of joy happens when you're around specific people or in specific places. Pay attention. The shepherds in the field noticed that star long before any angels showed up because they were paying attention. Be astonished by the life around you. Joyfy your ordinary moments. The day-to-day activities can sometimes feel pretty, blah. It's just normal. But can you identify an ordinary moment in your day, like a meal or a meeting or just walking to your car? Those moments that we tend to not pay attention to? If we can be astonished by the normal parts of life, if we can joyfy those moments, look for various ways to make connections. Connections with ourself, connections with one another, connections with nature. Look for ways to make that connection. And consider how you might find the joy in those normal situations. I imagine Mary and Joseph entering that old stable that smelled like animals and immediately setting to finding ways to make that place a joyful and inviting space to welcome in a new child. And tell about it. Share your joy with others. Not just during this Christmas season, but year-round. Like the wise men said, go share it on the mountain. Shout it from the mountaintops, whisper it to your neighbor, but share your moments of joy. Because we know we're not all feeling that joy all of the time. But the beauty of being part of humanity is that there's so many of us. If I can't find it in this moment, I know you can. And if you can share your joy, then I can connect to that joy until I can feel my own. So share your joy. Be the Christ light in the world. Be the Christ light in this community. Be the Christ light to one another so that it always shines brightly, even in times of darkness. Merry Christmas.
Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.